Hi, welcome to China, the center of the coronavirus outbreak. So I wanted to talk to you guys about what it's like in Beijing right now for just a normal person. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not sick, and that therefore makes me normal. The biggest effect that this has had on my life and my husband's life and the people around us, the biggest effect I would say is work delays. So I know someone who works for an airline and their work was delayed. They're now starting tomorrow, but they were supposed to start sooner. Me personally, my work has been delayed by 2 weeks and possibly longer. The start date is not confirmed. And the second biggest thing is resources. So we are not running out of food, though I have noticed that food goes a bit quicker from the shops, but I think that's from people just panicking and buying all of the food. However, a lot of the restaurants are closed, and some of the supermarkets are closing early or are even closed. So that does affect resources. Also, things being delivered from Taobao, which is one of basically the Amazon of China. So every Chinese New Year, some of the restaurants close down and some of the stores on Taobao will not deliver. However, I will say, because I spent last Chinese New Year in Beijing as well, there is a dramatic difference between the number of Taobao shops delivering and the number of restaurants that were open last year. So last year, I could still get stuff delivered. It was just less, it's a big problem around Chinese New Year getting stuff delivered from online stores. However, there was a lot of restaurants that were open that this year were not open. So getting resources can be a little bit tricky right now, especially if it's like a niche resource that you have to order online. That's going to be very difficult to get right now. And the last thing is the safety checks and the different safety stuff that has been implemented is causing a little bit of issues. So, for example, some people I know in China, not in Beijing, are on lockdown, and so you're definitely welcome to look up more about that. But where the epicenter of the outbreak was, that whole province has been locked down. But for Beijing, we're not on lockdown or anything, but I have noticed some different safety features that have been kind of inconvenient. So for example, they have locked down certain gates in our complex, so we can only go out the one gate. And that's a bit weird because I don't know how it helps us to just have people going in and out of one gate. If anything, it's concentrating all the germs at that one gate. So I don't know how that's helping anything. There was a guy standing at the gate pretending to take temperatures. However, I'm curious, what was he going to do if somebody did have a temperature? It's just a guy standing at a gate. He is not an official or anything. So I was a bit curious as to what was going to happen if he did find someone that had a temperature. And also, he was just pretending to take temperatures because people were walking by really fast and he was just kind of, it wasn't doing anything. It's just stuff that makes people feel better that's kind of inconvenient and not really helping the situation. So that stuff like that. All the DD drivers have to wear masks, but they're wearing those little surgical masks, which really don't do anything. So we were given surgical masks when we went to Subway, not Subway to take the Subway. Subway the restaurant gave us complimentary surgical masks. We thought that was kind of funny. The other thing I would say is entertainment. There's nothing to do. All the massage places are closed down. The movie theater is closed down. Like I said, a lot of the restaurants are closed down. Dance clubs are closed. I mean, we don't do dance clubs, but I know people who do them, and they're like, oh, the clubs are closed. Everything that is fun and therefore not necessary is closed down right now. And that's a bit annoying because it's okay, I'm not going to work and there's nothing fun to do. I guess I'm on vacation, but it's the world's most boring vacation because there's nothing to do. We've played so many video games, there's nothing to do. So that's another way that it's affected us because everything has shut down. So the main thing, work delays. I know a lot of people have had work delays, especially teachers. So a lot of foreigners are teachers over here, and they have had major work delays. Resources, but we are not starving to death. It's okay. You don't need to send food. And safety checks and the different safety things that have happened, some of which I feel like aren't necessarily keeping anyone safer and are just like inconvenient. Then again, I'm not a doctor, so who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe having everyone go through one gate is helping. Okay, so basically, yeah, I think that's how it's mostly affecting people who aren't sick. Basically, guys, this is like the flu, and a lot of people die every year from the flu. So I think what we can really learn from this is if there is a vaccine for something, like the flu vaccine, you should go ahead and get it because, yeah, people are dying from this coronavirus, but more like 8,000 people have died, I think, so far this year from the flu in the US. So, like, put that into perspective, like, we're at a little bit over 200 deaths from the coronavirus right now. And it's the same sort of demographic that dies from the flu. So people with pre-existing conditions and older people. Unfortunately, I fit into that category because I got pneumonia earlier this year. So I am worried about getting sick, but not any more so than about getting the flu. And I think that's what we really need to look at right here. It's basically similar to the flu in that it gets people sick, and yes, people die from it, and obviously that's very sad if people are dying. However, it is the same sort of demographic that dies from the flu, and if you care about people who are fit that with pre-existing conditions, really young children, older people, you should get your flu vaccine even if you don't fit into that category, because you can help with herd immunity with protecting those people that you care about. And so I think that's a big takeaway that we can get from this is get your flu shots, guys.